All right, so imagine this. It's a Saturday morning. It's early. It's pre 6 a.m. You're laying in bed, pretty asleep, but you roll over and notice that your partner or your wife is no longer in bed. No big deal. Maybe she's going to the bathroom or something. So you start to doze back off a bit. A couple minutes go by and you hear her come back. And then she says your name, and then she says, "I'm pregnant." What goes through your head? What are the first thoughts? Are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you a little of both? Probably. We're going to talk about that in the inaugural episode of the Fatherhood Forum. Welcome in, guys. My name is Trevor. I am a two-time dad with 5 years of experience, aka I have two kids, 5 and 3 at the moment. And what am I doing talking to you? Why am I talking to a camera right now? I feel like there's a lack of real dad content on the internet. It's either perfect parenting or kind of the clueless dad vibe, and neither really hit with me ever. So I want to be somewhere in the middle with real content, real talk, and just open conversations, hence a forum with you guys, and just to tell you some of my stories from the 5 years of experience that I realize is not a lot. It's not a ton of years as a dad so far, but I do think that I have some insights into that early time period if you're having a baby. Um, and yeah, and watching them get to start life and keeping them alive and doing all of the fun things in those first couple years. Speaking of real stories, that intro, that was my real story. That was my "you're going to be a dad" moment. And I relate to so many other people that, yes, we were trying, yes, we were putting in effort. We didn't know when it was going to happen. And for us, fortunately, it was fairly quickly. I know that's not the case for everybody, but you still get the same level of either excitement or nerves. I think those are the two things that balance when you hear the words, "you're going to be a dad." Um, it's either like 80% excitement to 20% nerves or vice versa. I was somewhere in the 80% to 20% nerves realm. Started off really excited. My first thought that went through my head was, I have to capture everything. I live in the video space. I work as a videographer professionally, and that was my first thought: is that I gotta start capturing all this. Um, Obviously, that's not the thought that everyone's gonna have, but that was my experience. And shortly after that first thought and the initial excitement kind of hit me, I did start to get more nervous. And as the 9 months progressed, I started to get more and more nervous that I wasn't quite as prepared as I should be. I don't know if anyone ever is. Are you ever fully prepared to become a dad? I don't think you know how it is until you're doing it. So I don't think there is a full preparedness for it because so many variables can happen. So what can you do to become a little more prepared? Um, I think the first thing I wanted to do was read a book. I looked into a couple options and I didn't really find a ton that hit with me, but I did find one that was a little more generic. It wasn't anything, buy this stroller or do this hack to become a great dad. It was just what you needed to know through the 9 months up until the birth. And that was helpful for me just because I didn't know anything. This is the first time I was doing this. And I've never been really around babies in my life. So I needed to learn just like the basics of babies. And reading a book that covered those basics really helped. And I think that an unexpected win in that was that sometimes my wife would question whether or not I was excited. And of course I was. Like I said, my nerves were starting to take over more than anything. But I think it showed her that I was excited by the fact that I did order a book. I did read the book. I didn't let it sit around and collect dust. So that's just an extra win-win. It shows your partner that you are looking forward to this and that you're trying to prepare the best you can. Then a very important one for me, go to as many of the appointments as you possibly can. She's going to have a lot of checkups over the 9 months and they're going to get more frequent. But I know it's not realistic for everybody that you can make all of them. I was in a position that I could make a lot of them, if not all of them, I highly suggest that, just because you're basically staying in touch with what's going on. Trust me, you are going to feel fairly irrelevant at most of the appointments. Some of the doctors might not even reference you in the room, but you do want to be there. I think it shows not only support for your partner, but it helps you just gain more knowledge on what's going on and staying up to date in the process. And I think the most knowledge we can take in pre-baby arrival, the best. At least that was my approach. And I think that if you're someone like me and you want to be the most prepared, if you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you want to be as prepared as you can be. I would say go to all the appointments. It's extremely helpful. And next, I would say try to capture some of that. Capture the whole journey. My first thought, like I said, was capture it all. Capture some of that. Go to the ultrasounds. Get video with your phone of that, just to have it. Get pictures. Get bump photos. Do the whole thing, because it's the first time it's happening. It might be the only time it's happening. You want to remember all of it. Trust me. That 9 months will go quick. And I think that when you get it done and it's over, you're going to look back at some of that stuff and be like, wow, I'm glad that I have this footage, or I'm glad that I took these pictures. Plus, it is pretty cool to see what a woman's body does. It changes, and it's wild, and it's very cool. I think that it's the most impressive thing that a human can do on this planet. So yeah, just capture as much as you possibly can. And on the note of your partner, the last thing I'm going to say, and the most important thing on the list, I think, is just to embrace those last couple months, those last couple weeks, those last couple days. It's just you two, pre-child. Just remember the moments that you're going to have together without your kid. This is something that I don't think I did very well, and that I wish I would have done a little better. It's hard to, in the moment, look at the situation and say, yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to having a kid. Of course you are. But you're also losing you and your partner, your significant other. You're just losing you two as two people, and you're gaining a third individual in that for good. And I think when you look back on that, as I look back on that, I wish I would have embraced those moments a little more, because they're few and far between that you get just one-on-one time with your partner after your kid is born. And I wish I would have done a little bit better at that. That's something that I didn't do very well. So take those moments, remember them. Hey, maybe capture some of those pictures and photos. Like, this is the last date night before our kid gets here, something like that, just to have that memory, not only here, but on your phone or whatever. I think those moments and embracing those moments is very important. And that's as real as I can get, is just sitting here talking to you. I don't have any script. This is just notes. And it's just, I just want to be as real and open here as I possibly can be. And that's what you can expect from videos that I'm putting up on this channel. It's just open conversations. I am not an expert. I am far from an expert. I've only been a dad for 5 years. It seems like I don't remember what life was like before them. And that goes back to embracing those moments with your significant other. But it's hard to look back and think about what was life before your kids, because it is so awesome and it is so life-changing. And although it's only been 5 years, it's been full of moments and memories that make it feel like longer. And yeah, I think I'm not going to give too much advice. I'm just going to give you my take on what I did, and if I could have improved it, or what I could have done to improve it, the best I can. And hopefully you can get something out of it. For me, I'm benefiting from making these videos because now I will get to look back at them as well. My kids will get to look back at these and say, wow, Dad, you really did care, hopefully. And I think that, that's important to me, just having something to look back on like this. So, and it's going to be a very open conversation. I hope to engage engage with anyone watching in the comments. If you have a fun story from when you found out you're going to be a dad moment, or when you found out your significant other was pregnant, just share them in the comments. Let me know. I want to see anyone watching this that has any insight. I'm open to the conversation, and that's what this platform, this forum, will be for. So I appreciate you sticking around. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.